You can chase success. You can chase money. You can chase people. But if God is last on your list, everything else will eventually fall apart. Some doors don't open with effort. Some battles aren't won with strength. Some peace can't be bought. There are moments when talent isn't enough, only God is. Put God first or keep wondering why nothing feels complete. Putting God first doesn't mean life gets easy. It means life gets clear. It means you stop relying only on your own understanding and start trusting a higher plan. Many people work hard, but feel empty. They achieve goals, but feel lost. Not because they failed, but because they built everything without God at the center. When God is first, your priorities change. Your decisions slow down. Your heart becomes steady. You stop forcing outcomes and start trusting timing. Faith doesn't remove obstacles. It gives you strength to walk through them. Expanded. 700 to 800 words, no ending. One of the greatest struggles people face today is not lack of effort. It's lack of direction. People are busy. They are working hard. They are moving fast. But they are unsure. Unsure about decisions. Unsure about timing. Unsure about whether they're on the right path. That uncertainty creates anxiety, and no amount of hustle can fix confusion. When God is first, direction replaces confusion. You stop relying only on your own understanding and begin trusting guidance that is higher than motion, higher than pressure, higher than fear. Putting God first doesn't mean you suddenly know everything. It means you stop pretending that you do. It means you accept that your vision is limited, but God's vision is complete. Most wrong turns in life don't come from bad intentions. They come from rushed decisions. Decisions made in fear, decisions made in desperation, decisions made to please people. When God is first, you slow down, you pause before reacting, you pray before choosing, you listen before moving. That pause changes everything, because clarity doesn't come from speed. It comes from alignment. God's direction is often quiet. It doesn't shout. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't pressure you. It speaks through peace. When something is right, even if it's difficult, your spirit feels steady. When something is wrong, even if it looks attractive, you feel unsettled. That discernment is direction, and it only develops when God is placed first. Without God, people chase opportunity instead of purpose. They move toward what looks good, not what is right. But what looks good doesn't always lead somewhere good. Putting God first teaches patience. And patience protects you from mistakes you didn't need to make. There are doors that look open, but lead to dead ends. There are shortcuts that feel fast, but cost you peace. God's direction doesn't always make sense at first, but it always makes sense later. When God is first, you stop forcing outcomes. You stop trying to control timing. You stop manipulating situations. You trust that what is meant for you will not miss you. That trust removes panic. And panic is the enemy of wise decisions. Direction also comes from surrender. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means giving control to the one who sees the full picture. When you surrender your plans, God refines them. When you surrender your timeline, God aligns it. You may not get what you wanted, but you get what you needed. God's direction often redirects before it rewards. And redirection is not rejection, it's protection. Many people look back and realize the delays saved them, the closed doors protected them, and the unanswered prayers shaped them. That understanding comes with faith. When God is first, you stop comparing paths. You stop asking, why is their life moving faster than mine? Because you understand that different callings have different timelines. Comparison creates impatience. Faith creates trust, and trust keeps you moving forward without bitterness. God's direction also shapes character. He doesn't just guide you to a destination. He prepares you for it. Sometimes the waiting isn't about the opportunity. It's about the person you're becoming. Without God, people reach places they aren't ready to handle. With God, preparation comes before promotion. Direction without character is dangerous. God knows that. That's why His guidance often focuses on growth before achievement. When God is first, you begin to value obedience over outcome. You do what is right, even when results aren't immediate. That obedience builds confidence, not confidence in yourself, confidence in God. And that confidence stabilizes you. When life feels uncertain, you stop chasing signs everywhere. You stop asking everyone for advice. You learn to seek God first. And that habit simplifies life. Instead of 10 voices pulling you in different directions, you have one source of truth, one anchor, one foundation. God's direction doesn't remove effort. It directs it. You still work hard. You still show up. You still take responsibility. But now your effort has purpose. You're not just moving, you're being guided. And when direction is clear, even difficult paths feel meaningful. Because you know you're not walking alone. You know there is intention behind the struggle, purpose behind the delay, and wisdom behind the process. When God is first, direction becomes less about knowing the destination and more about trusting the guide. Life does not break people because they are weak. It breaks them because they try to carry everything alone. Pressure, expectations, responsibilities. People smile on the outside while silently collapsing on the inside. They wake up tired. They move forward exhausted. They keep going, not because they're strong, but because they don't know how to stop. Inner strength is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show off. It doesn't beg for attention. True inner strength is quiet, steady, and rooted, and it is built when God is first. When God is first, strength no longer comes from motivation alone. It comes from trust. Motivation fades. Energy runs out. Willpower breaks. But faith endures. Putting God first doesn't remove hardship. It changes how hardship is carried. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That shift changes pressure into purpose. Inner strength grows in moments where you feel like quitting, but choose to trust instead. Strength is not found in control. It's found in surrender. When you surrender your fear, your anxiety, your uncertainty, you stop draining yourself by trying to hold everything together. You allow God to hold what you can. That doesn't make you passive. It makes you resilient. Resilience is built in unseen moments. Moments when you pray instead of panic. Moments when you breathe instead of break. Moments when you choose faith, even when logic says give up. God's strength works differently than human strength. Human strength says push harder. God's strength says trust deeper. Human strength relies on control. God's strength relies on connection. When God is first, you stop pretending to be okay when you're not. You stop hiding weakness. You understand that admitting weakness is not failure. It's honesty. And honesty invites healing. God doesn't require perfection. He requires humility. And humility is the foundation of strength. Inner strength also grows through patience. Patience is not waiting without action. It's waiting without losing peace. When God is first, you learn to wait without resentment. You stop fighting the process. You stop rushing outcomes, because rushing weakens you. It exhausts your spirit. God's timing strengthens you by developing endurance. Endurance is strength over time. Anyone can be strong for a moment. Few can remain strong consistently. Consistency comes from faith. When your strength is rooted in God, it doesn't depend on circumstances. Good day or bad day, you remain grounded. Because your strength comes from something unchanging. Showing up every day when nobody sees it, that builds strength. Choosing integrity when shortcuts are available, that builds strength. Remaining kind in a harsh world, that builds strength. And all of that is sustained when God is first. God also builds strength by teaching you when to rest. Burnout is not strength. Constant exhaustion is not discipline. When God is first, you respect your limits. You understand that rest is not laziness, it's obedience. Even God established rest. Rest restores strength. Without God, people feel guilty for resting. With God, they understand it's necessary. Strength is not measured by how much you can endure, but by how well you recover. God teaches balance. Balance between effort and surrender, between work and worship, between pushing forward and pulling back. That balance protects your mind. Mental strength is just as important as physical endurance. When God is first, your thoughts become guarded. You don't let negativity take control. You don't let fear dominate your thinking. You learn to replace worry with prayer. Not because problems disappear, but because peace increases. Peace strengthens clarity, and clarity strengthens resolve. Inner strength also grows through hope. Hope is not wishful thinking. It's confident expectation. When God is first, hope becomes your anchor. Even when situations look impossible, you believe there is meaning beyond the moment. That belief keeps you standing when others collapse. Strength is not always aggressive. Sometimes strength is staying soft in a hard world, staying faithful when faith is tested, staying patient when progress feels slow. God builds strength layer by layer, moment by moment, trial by trial. And with each challenge, your dependence on Him increases, your confidence deepens, and your foundation becomes unshakable. Because strength that comes from God is not about never falling. It's about always getting back up with faith intact, heart guarded and spirit grounded. Every life is shaped by decisions, not intentions, not wishes, not talent, decisions. Small choices repeated daily become habits, and habits become destiny. Many people don't suffer because they lack ability. They suffer because they make emotional decisions. Decisions driven by fear. Decisions driven by pressure. Decisions driven by ego. When God is not first, people choose what feels good now instead of what is right long term. But when God is first, decision making slows down. Not out of doubt, but out of wisdom. You stop reacting and start discerning. Discerning means you don't just ask, can I do this? You ask, should I do this? That one question changes everything. Putting God first introduces accountability. You are no longer answering only to your emotions, your desires, or your circumstances. You are aligning your choices with values that don't change. That alignment protects you. Many regrets are not caused by lack of information. They are caused by ignoring conviction. God speaks through conviction, that quiet inner warning, that uneasiness you feel even when an opportunity looks perfect. When God is first, you learn to respect that voice. You don't silence it for convenience. You don't ignore it for pleasure. You trust it. Because conviction is guidance. God-centered decisions often require sacrifice. They require saying no when yes would be easier. Walking away when staying would feel comfortable. Choosing integrity when compromise would benefit you. These decisions are rarely celebrated. They don't get applause. They don't get validation, but they build character. And character outlasts opportunity. Without God, people justify decisions based on outcomes. With God, people evaluate decisions based on obedience. Obedience protects your future. You may not see the benefit immediately, but you avoid damage you never had to experience. God doesn't just care about where you're going. He cares about who you become on the way. That's why God-first decisions often feel heavy. They carry responsibility. They require patience. They test faith. But they also remove chaos. When God is first, you stop chasing approval. You stop allowing people's opinions to override your values. Because pleasing everyone often leads to betraying yourself. God's approval brings freedom. Freedom from comparison. Freedom from validation addiction. Freedom from fear of rejection. That freedom strengthens the decision making. You become steady. Not impulsive. Not reactive. Not easily influenced. God-guided decisions are not rushed. Rushing creates blind spots. When you rush, you choose speed over wisdom. God values timing. And timing requires patience. When God is first, you understand that delay is not denial. It's preparation. Many wrong decisions come from impatience. People settle. They compromise. They accept less than what aligns with their calling. God-first decisions protect standards. They remind you that it's better to wait alone than to walk fast in the wrong direction. God also changes how you handle temptation. Temptation doesn't disappear, but your response changes. You don't rely on willpower alone. You rely on conviction. Willpower breaks. Conviction holds. When God is first, you don't ask how close you can get to the line. You ask how far you can stay from it. That mindset protects your peace. Peace is the confirmation of right decisions. Not comfort, not excitement. Peace. God's peace doesn't always feel exciting, but it feels right. When decisions align with God, there is calm even in uncertainty, and that calm becomes guidance. God also teaches long-term thinking. Short-term pleasure often leads to long-term pain. God-first decisions prioritize future impact. They consider consequences. They protect relationships. They guard reputation. They preserve integrity. Because integrity once lost is difficult to restore. God cares about that. When God is first, you become consistent. Your public life and private life align. You don't live double-minded. You don't switch values based on environment. That consistency strengthens confidence. You trust yourself more because your choices are rooted. God-first decisions also build courage. Courage to stand alone. Courage to be misunderstood. Courage to choose obedience over popularity. Not everyone will understand your choices. Some will question them. Some will criticize them. Some will mock your restraint. But God-guided decisions are not made for applause. They are made for alignment. And alignment creates peace. Peace creates clarity. Clarity strengthens resolve. And resolve keeps you steady when life pressures you to compromise. Because when God is first, your decisions are no longer driven by fear of loss. They are driven by trust in purpose, confidence in guidance, and belief that what you walk away from was never meant to define you. Many people believe that faith means a perfect life. No pain, no problems, no pressure. But faith was never meant to remove struggle. It was meant to remove fear. Putting God first doesn't mean everything works out the way you want. It means you remain steady even when things don't. Peace is not the absence of trouble. It's the presence of trust. When God is first, your expectations change. You stop expecting life to be easy and start trusting that you won't face it alone. That shift brings peace. Peace is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand attention. Peace is quiet confidence in the middle of chaos. Without God, people chase perfection. They try to control every outcome. They panic over every delay. They stress over every mistake. Perfection creates pressure, and pressure steals peace. When God is first, you release control. You understand that perfection is not required. Faithfulness is. Faithfulness in effort, faithfulness in attitude, faithfulness in obedience. That understanding frees you. You stop punishing yourself for mistakes. You stop replaying failures in your mind. You stop carrying guilt longer than necessary. God's peace doesn't ignore flaws, it covers them. And covered flaws don't control you. Peace also comes from acceptance. Acceptance of timing. Acceptance of process. Acceptance of growth. Growth is messy. Progress is rarely straight. When God is first, you stop fighting the process. You stop asking, why isn't this happening faster? And start asking, what am I learning here? Learning replaces frustration. Frustration drains energy. Peace restores it. Peace strengthens focus. When your mind is calm, your decisions improve. Your reactions slow down. Your emotions stabilize. God's peace acts as a filter. It filters noise. It filters fear. It filters unnecessary pressure. You stop absorbing every opinion. You stop reacting to every comment. Because peace gives perspective. Without peace, people overreact. They magnify problems. They imagine worst-case scenarios. They lose clarity. When God is first, peace anchors you. Even when circumstances shake, your foundation holds. That foundation is trust. Trust that God sees what you can't. Trust that He knows what He's doing. Trust that delay doesn't mean denial. Peace grows when trust grows. And trust grows through experience. Every time God carries you through something difficult, your peace deepens. You realize you survived things that once felt unbearable. That realization strengthens faith. Peace also protects your health. Stress weakens the body. Anxiety exhausts the mind. Fear drains the spirit. When God is first, you learn to cast worries instead of carrying them. You don't deny problems. You release them. Release doesn't mean irresponsibility. It means you do your part and trust God with the rest. That balance preserves peace. Peace doesn't come from answers. It comes from assurance. Assurance that even if you don't know how things will work out, they will. God's peace allows you to sleep while others stay awake. Worrying, it allows you to breathe while others panic. It allows you to remain kind when others become bitter. Peace also changes how you handle failure. Failure without God leads to shame. Failure with God leads to growth. When God is first, you don't let mistakes define you. You learn. You adjust. You continue. That mindset prevents burnout. Burnout often comes from perfectionism. trying to be everything, trying to do everything, trying to control everything. God never asked for that. He asked for trust. Trust produces peace. Peace produces patience. Patience allows growth. God's peace also affects relationships. When you are at peace internally, you stop seeking validation externally. You don't depend on people to complete you. You don't react defensively. You respond calmly. That calmness strengthens communication. It reduces conflict. It increases understanding. Peace doesn't mean you avoid hard conversations. It means you approach them without fear. When God is first, you don't need to win every argument. You don't need to prove yourself. You are secure. Security is peace in action. God's peace doesn't eliminate emotion. It regulates it. You still feel pain. You still feel disappointment. You still feel grief. But emotions don't control you. You process them with faith. And processing with faith prevents emotional damage. Peace also helps you stay present. Anxious minds live in the future. Regretful minds live in the past. Peace keeps you grounded in the now. It allows you to appreciate progress instead of obsessing over perfection. Because perfection is exhausting, but peace is sustainable. And when God is first, peace becomes your posture, your default response, your inner environment. Success is one of the most misunderstood ideas in the world. Many people define success by numbers, money in the bank, titles on a screen, applause from strangers. But success without peace is pressure. Success without purpose is empty. Success without God is fragile. When God is first, your definition of success changes. Success becomes alignment, not attention. It becomes fulfillment, not fame. It becomes impact, not image. Putting God first doesn't mean you stop working hard. It means your work is guided. You still chase excellence, but not at the cost of your soul. You still pursue goals, but not at the expense of your values. God-first success is built slowly, but it lasts. Fast success often collapses because it has no foundation. God builds foundation before recognition. Many people want elevation without preparation, but God cares more about who you become than how quickly you rise. When God is first, your success includes character. Character protects success. Talent can open doors, but character keeps them open. Without character, success becomes a burden. With character, success becomes a blessing. God-first success also includes service. You stop asking, how can this benefit me? And start asking, how can this bless others? Purpose expands beyond self. Impact replaces ego. You understand that everything you receive is also a responsibility. God doesn't elevate people to make them proud. He elevates them to make them useful. True success leaves fingerprints on lives, not just trophies on shelves. When God is first, success becomes balanced. You don't lose your family to gain a career. You don't sacrifice your health for achievement. You don't abandon faith for fortune. Balance preserves joy. And joy is a sign of true success. Without God, people climb endlessly but never arrive. There's always more to chase, more to prove, more to protect. With God, contentment grows. Contentment doesn't kill ambition. It refines it. You work from gratitude, not insecurity. From confidence, not comparison. God-first success also survives failure. Failure doesn't destroy you, it redirects you. Because your identity is not tied to outcomes. It's rooted in God. That rooting gives stability. Even when things fall apart, you don't fall apart. You learn, you adjust, you rise again. That resilience is success. God also measures success differently. He values faithfulness over fame, consistency over popularity, integrity over influence. You may not always be celebrated, but you will be sustained. And sustainability outlasts spotlight. God-first success is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet peace at night. Sometimes it's a clear conscience. Sometimes it's a fulfilled heart. Those things cannot be purchased. They are received. When God is first, you stop fearing loss. You understand that what comes from God cannot be taken by people. And what leaves was never meant to define you. That security is success. You walk confidently without arrogance, humbly without insecurity. You know where your strength comes from. And you know where your future rests. Success with God also creates legacy. Not just what you achieve, but what you leave behind. Values passed down, faith demonstrated, lives influenced. Legacy is success that outlives you. God first living produces that. It's not about being remembered. It's about being meaningful. And in the end, success is not standing at the top, looking down at others. It's standing in alignment, knowing you honored God with your life. So put God first when you plan. Put God first when you decide. Put God first when you work. Put God first when you wait. Because when God is first, success is not something you chase. It's something you become. You become steady. You become fulfilled. You become purposeful. And no matter where life takes you, no matter how high you rise or how challenging the path becomes, you will know this truth. True success is not found in what you gain, but in who you become when God leads the way. Put God first when life is good. Put God first when life is hard. Put God first when you don't understand the process. Because when God is first, you're never last. You're guided. You're protected. You're prepared. And no matter what you face next, you won't face it alone.